And this reel casts super smooth cast on this reel. There we go. There we go. That's a good one. Yo! Oh my God! There it is. Got it. Ooh, that's good. Dude!
Find spots. Find big great fish.
Yeah! You kidding me? You kidding me? Bro! Bro! My God. What's going on, guys? We're out here, LA Fishing Alliance, out here with my buddy T, and we're here today to talk about something really cool, really exciting, the Penn Fathoms, Dean of LA Fishing Alliance. Got these in the shop, and we got to take the 200 and the 300 out to Clemente Island recently, and it was awesome, man. It was a great experience on that reel. Had a good time. I was on the 200.
I was on a 300.
What'd you think about it?
You know what? I had high expectations for this reel, and it met all of them. So super stoked to talk about it today. I think a lot of people had a couple of questions about this reel. It's the real deal.
Texas rig flute on the iRod Kamana 794 on the Penn Fathom high speed 200 reel. Let's go. T, why don't you tell us real quick, what is the Fathom?
So Penn came out with some Fathoms that were open face style conventional reels for, I think they match our Southern California sport fishing market very well. My favorite reel was the 40 Narrow. I use it primarily for either that tuna in the 80 to 150 range, dropping flat balls on them, or even yo-yoing for yellowtail in the cold winter months. They're very durable, they last a long time. Deckhands on a lot of very credible sport boats love those. And if the deckhands like it, one thing I learned is follow what the deckhands do. And when Penn decided to come out with these right here, I had high expectations. I wanted to see if they can stay true to their name, and be completely honest, they did. I have the 300, and long story short, I say it's a buy.
Watch, cheers, boom. Yes, sir. So I had been hearing a lot of really cool things, really good things about this reel, actually from T right here. He was the one who told me about this reel and put me on it. And I gotta say, we took it out there, it performed so well. And I want T, break it down real quick, man. Tell us about the specs of this reel and why it was so awesome and good for me out there.
Yeah, so the 200 size, it weighs roughly about 8 ounces. He was using an 8-to-1, which is gonna pick up about 34 inches per turn on the handle. He loaded it up with 40-pound braid. He got about 150 yards. He was tying a 25-pound fluorocarbon leader, and he was fishing predominantly a 1-ounce tungsten with a fluke, or some type of 1/2 ounce to a 1-ounce warbait head or a shred head paired up with that 5-inch Gary Reyes.
All right, just for comparison, I was on that. He says it wasn't big enough.
How many fish you caught that day? Just rough number?
Oh, I lost count.
Yeah.
I lost count. I lost count, and all of it too on the Kamana Coastal 794. And I gotta say, this thing pairs beautifully.
Yeah.
Let's just look at the colors.
Yeah.
Simply, this red matches the red on the Kamana Coastal so perfectly. This reel was made for this rod.
You know, so a lot of people are fixated on getting lightweight reels. They think having a lightweight reel is gonna feel better, but when I was testing these iRods, we go to San Clemente Island. You gotta use some type of heavy action rod with a good bend. The Pose Max Stick was tested at San Clemente Island on big fish. And we needed a reel that wasn't too heavy, but had enough weight, so that way when you're palming it, how did it feel in terms of balance?
It felt great. It was incredibly balanced. It's light, feels great in the hand. So, you know, me and T had been talking about the importance of a balanced rod, and I gotta say, at the end of a long 8-hour day out there at Clemente, I didn't understand what it meant to have a balanced rod and what that meant for your body and the energy level that you have left at the end of a long day. Your arm's not exhausted. You know, you literally have more energy because you are working with, the gear's working for you. I didn't even know that was a problem I had.
We didn't make these rods for these reels, but the 200 weighing 8 ounces going on the 7'9" rod, and then the 300 weighing 9 ounces going on an 8-foot rod, it balances near perfect. It feels really good in the hand. If you're throwing a bigger bait, you can adjust your base so that way it's not too tip heavy, but you're not accommodating too much. And I've always expressed the importance of having a balanced combo. You want your gear to work with you, and you don't want to fight your gear.
There we go.
Double done.
There we go.
This setup right here, that setup right here, it's pretty fuego.
It's so smooth. It casts so smooth.
Yeah.
The drag system is amazing. You want to talk about the drag system a little bit?
So it has a HT100 drag system. I don't know what that means, but all I can tell you is that it has about 24 pounds of drag on the 200 and about 25, 26 pounds of drag on the 300. Now, what does that mean? One, I like to button down my drags, right? All my drags on most of my reels fishing for calico, I button down the drags. That could be a good thing and a bad thing. I'm used to butting down some reels and from different brands, and there'd be some slippage. With this one, there was absolutely no slippage, and because of that, I lost a decent yellowtail at the island. It was a heartbreaker, but at least for me, ideally now I know I don't have to button down this drag. I can keep it at like 3/4 mass, have still about 16 to 18 pounds of drag, so if I do hook a yellowtail or a white sea bass or a big cuda, I know I have some slippage there, and I have enough time to accommodate adjusting that star drag system. Very impressed with that drag though. It was really smooth too. Once I got it dialed down, I actually stuck one on the weedless. She kelped me, and the harder I pulled, it started to slip on the drag, but it was very smooth on how it did slip. And I really like that about that drag system.
Yo, let's go! Let's go!
What do you know? Yellow on the dude, it was like a 30 with it. I was going berserk. Yeah, I don't cave into the hype when companies try to have a large amount of drag in their reels. I like to look at it as like when it's buttoned up, it's locked, and I can pull any fish away from cover, whether it be kelp, rock, docks, or eelgrass, or even other type of man-made structures. But this, when I toned it down, it was really smooth. And I can imagine it being very jittery if I'm fishing 40-pound tests and I hook on a big fish on a button-up drag. But at that point, that reel, it's met its match. So far for calico bass, guys, I'm super stoked on it. It does have an internal and an external brake on both reels. The magnetic braking on the external side is very easy to use. You either start at minimum or work your way up to a tighter drag, or you start at a tighter drag and loosen it up. It coincides with your spool tensioner knob very well, and it was pretty seamless. Out the box, I didn't have to open the side plate to adjust the internal brakes. It was out the box ready to go. I kind of fine-tuned it, and at the end of the day, I was making bomb casts. I'm super stoked to play with that internal gear, especially because I want to go out and fish for striper with a punker, and I need to send this punker across the lake. And I'm pretty sure this reel is going to be able to do it.
You know, one thing I really like about this reel a lot too is the clicking.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, so spool tensioner knob, right? It does have a click on it. A lot of the newer reels out there has it. That one has a loud clicking to it. If you're making a cast, and you're backlashing right as you make that cast, that means your bait is traveling faster than your reel is turning, or your spool is turning. So you want to loosen that spool tensioner knob. Now, if you make a cast, and right when that bait starts to slow down, you start to backlash, that means your bait is slower than your spool. So being able to adjust it and hearing those clicks, you can fine tune it. I will always start off with your magnetic external brakes and then work with your spool tensioner. Jordan, AKA Fish Dude, AKA my dude, he mentioned the colors of the Fathom. The colors of the Fathom come in red and black and a gold and black. The gold and black is your basic gear ratios. It's going to be a 6-to-1 and a 7-to-1. The red and black means they're higher speed, which are 8-to-1 and 9-to-1. I fish lefty. I don't like the transition when I make the cast, and because of that, I feel like it does me good. But in the lefties, as of now, only comes in that gold and black. But for the most part, I like a 7-to-1 gear ratio. I feel like it's fast enough to pull fish away from their cover, but you don't have to use so much pressure in turning that handle when pulling a bigger fish out. On a 200 size reel, since I'm fishing lighter line or smaller baits, I typically like a higher gear ratio, so I can imagine an 8-to-1 would be dope. The rod that I'm using on a 300 is the 804 medium heavy extra fast Kaimana. This rod has a very good bend to it. It loads up on baits that weigh a ½ ounce of 5-inch trailers, 1 ounce with 7-inch trailers, 2 ounce with 7-inch trailers, and I can even throw baits like this. Huds, 250s, big rats, punkers. I've thrown dead twitches already. I've thrown the 10-inch HUD on this rod, and it was made to fight yellowtail. It got tested at Cedros on the yellowtail out there. White sea bass is something that we thought about too. We wanted to create something that can catch calico bass, but if you hooked onto a white sea bass or a yellowtail accidentally, you'd have enough backbone to actually pull them out and fight them and eventually land them. We just like this rod because it doubles over as a largemouth bass swim bait rod. It does have bigger K guides on it. I like to fish braid to leader. Having the bigger K guides on there allows you to tie a bigger knot with like 30-pound tests, and you don't have to worry about the guides getting in the way of that knot. I tie a RP knot, it goes through the guides just fine. I had no problem casting smaller baits all the way to big swim baits. So if you guys are in the market for a pretty rad calico slash depths 250 HUD rod and reel setup, this Penn Fathom is gold. Look into these 804s. If you guys are interested in looking into a new reel, I highly recommend the Penn Fathom. It met all my expectations, not just in what a new reel could be, but in what it was in our SoCal sport fishing market. And I could throw big baits with it. I went out last night with Poe and I was throwing it all night and it felt really good. I was slinging some of these bigger baits. I didn't feel like when I was skipping a HUD under the dock, I didn't feel like the reel was trying to overcompensate. It was super smooth. I washed it, I took it apart after letting it sit for a day or two. I didn't notice any salt building up on the edges of the spool. I didn't notice any salt building up in that spool tensioner cap or in between where the star drag and the main plate is at. So that tells me that it's easy to wash, it's gonna be easy to maintain, and it's gonna last me a long time. So I'm really stoked to say that this Penn Fathom is a winner.
You guys want to check it out, LA Fishing Alliance. I know he's got a few in stock right now in varying sizes. Come get your hands on one. Check it out, man. It's a great reel.
Yeah,
it really is.
There's a 400 available as well. You're gonna pair that up with like a 9-foot rod. The 905 I rod is probably the rod that you want to pair it with. It's rated 30-40 pounds. You can throw a Tatty C, you can throw coat snipers, you can even throw bait. A lot of times when you're out in sport fishing boats, it's the person who can cast the furthest and cast accurately on a slide. Those are the individuals that consistently get jackpot are considered to be heavy hitters. That rod with that baitcaster such as the Fathom 400 will allow you to fish behind people, over people, having that taller rod. Lifetime warranty, Fuji K guides, we stand by them.
All right, well, dude, thanks again, man, getting us out there in Clemente. It was a rad time.
Was a rad
I
trip.
broke multiple PBs, and I know I wasn't the only one on that boat that day, so super rad time. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, my name is T Fishes on Instagram, or I run Fish All Brand, which is at Fish All Brand on Instagram, www.fishallbrand.com. My slogan is pretty simple: don't count your blessings, pass them.
Catch you guys later. If you guys like this kind of content, be sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button right now. And don't stop here. There's a full playlist of whatever bites you can start watching. Hit the box in the bottom right corner of your screen, and I'll see you in the next episode. Later.